How the heck are you, everybody? I am Fastidious. Welcome to my channel. Should you summon for Diaochan? She goes live on limited 200 guaranteed rate up in literally 2 hours and 13 minutes. The answer is yes. That's the end of the should you summon portion of this video. 100% yes. Every single player should go for her if they have the 200 summons saved, 200 summons worth of rare summoning crystals and diamonds, or at least they can get there by the end of Tuesday. If you've been saving it all, you can definitely get there. We've been telling you to do this for a while. Second part of this video, let's get right into it. It's getting kind of late, so I just want to have fun and get right into the testing. Let's do Diaochan versus Dolores. So we're in Guild Boss 1 as an inspiration here. We're going to be using Diaochan in Song of Sorrow mode. We're going to be in Guild Boss 1. This is not a Guild Boss 1 guide or a Guild Boss 1 showcase. We're just using the Guild Boss, the Drake, as a meat sack, as a punching bag, and that's just for a uniform, consistent test. So I'll go over the gear in a second that both of them will be wearing, but I will tell you it's going to not very much, but it will be in favor. Sorry, this is my A3 Diaochan. I want my A0 one to keep things pretty simple. It's going to be fairly in Dolores' favor. I think that is fair because she's going to be easier to build. You're going to have her A5. You very likely have a maxed out Golden Scarab, or eventually you'll get there. You know, that's not an exclusive artifact. However, it's very likely you will not have a maxed out Diaochan exclusive. So we're just going to run this on both of them, even though the secondary effect here does not help Diaochan because we're not going to use any ultimates. We're just going to have her in Song of Sorrow, do the one stance switch, and then be off to the races. The other thing in Dolores' favor, we will test her first. She gets her exclusive amulet. I think we should show her at full potential, and then we'll take exactly this gear, including the exclusive amulet, just put it on Diaochan. This is going to make her ult more and more consistently. Her at A5 plus this amulet means she is going to get the full effect of this Merciful Bounty every time. Every time the ult's over, she gets 300 rage back. Effectively, it makes her ultimate cost only 600 rage. I know I'm talking fast, but I just want to do a showcase. I just want to do a test. So this is our Dolores. You can see the attack. We'll get into the gearing right now. The attack is very high. It's test server stuff. I did pretty good. 13,664. You might be saying, that's not that high. Kind of a fair point. It really comes down to this. I don't have a Wings of Grace ring on the test server that has flat attack, and I think we should run her in Wings of Grace so she can take advantage of this amulet, give the buff to herself. Diaochan will get the same. And then for both examples, we are going to give the Wings of Grace plus 12% buff. The ally, that will be Hex. We're going to place it strategically to do exactly that. So there you go, the artifact maxed out Golden Scarab, Wings of Grace with Warlord. The attack does come out to a whopping 13,664. And I'll tell you, it is, again, a little bit in Dolores' favor. She even gets 43% rage regen, so it's going to help her go a little faster, ult a little more. Should be kind of a wash, but Diaochan doesn't need the rage. So that will be the gear that starts on Dolores, goes directly to Diaochan. You'll see that. I'm not going to have any cuts here, so it will be pretty dang simple. Aside from that, all we are bringing, so we're bringing our inspiration hero. All we're bringing besides that is 2 DPS, who are going to be this beautiful couple here, who are also on rate up on Saturday. So if you want to do pity manipulation, you'll get to see them kind of in action right now. We've got Hex and we've got Twyla. They each get a Lord. And then we've got Hollow for healing. That's really it. You may be wondering what Sorzy boys, Sorzis and Navras are doing here. We'll just need to deploy quickly Torador, Sorzis, and Navras to take the full advantage of Torador's Lord skill. That's their sole purpose, right? When we need to have the 4 units or more deployed to get that 35 attack speed boost for Twyla. Just want to keep it strong and consistent. So we went over the Inspiration Hero build right here. We got our Wings of Grace. We've got our Warlord. We've got our cute little Golden Scarab over here. Let me show you Hollow. I have her in Broken Set. I guess we can take her out of Broken Set. Since one hero is getting Wings of Grace, it's fair that the other is going to get Invigoration. So let's see. Do we have anything to work with here? Oh, yeah, we can take this from another Diaochan. There's many Diaochans on this test server. We are on the Fastidious test server. But you can see high rage regen percentage, very fast, solid attack, good heal effect. This is a very good Guild Boss 1 Drake's Chasm Hollow. She is in a, that's wrong. I'm glad I checked. We're going to put her in a maxed out Euphoric Orb. Perfect. And that's our Hollow. So everything else, no one else is really going to be deployed besides those Araka. We're not going to deploy. She's there just to be a Lord for Hex. We're not going to use Torador, Sorzis, or Navras. They are there just to boost Twyla. So the only other 2 heroes we have to discuss are Hex and Twyla. They're both in very comparable high crit damage, Soulbound Arcana, Drake's Chasm, Guild Boss 1 oriented sets. You can see very similar here. we're in this like 200 to 250 attack speed range. If we look at the additional crit damage, it's in that 231.5 to 234, very tight. And both of them are rocking Warlord on the left, as you can see, and they are rocking Soulbound Arcana on the right with 2 crit damage main stats and 1 attack bonus main stat. They don't matter too much, but I just want to have very strong heroes for us to play with. You can see crit damage, attack bonus. Good gear. Welcome to the test server. That's what it's like. We got some good stuff here. Hex is in a maxed out exclusive, a maxed out Suture of Copris. And then if we go over here to Twyla, she's in a maxed out Wailing Skull. There's an argument for Scarlet Hunt. Doesn't matter too much. This should be pretty fun. Without further ado, let's begin and let's get into it. I'll have Diaochan here just so it's easy to switch later, but obviously she will not be deployed. Dolores versus Diaochan, Inspiration Showdown. Let's get into it. During my testing just now, I realized we need one more DPS hero to comfortably take down those shields. This obviously is not a Guild Boss 1 guide or strategy or showcase. We are just using the Drake, the boss, the dragon, as a punching bag, as our crash test dummy. Just we need something consistent to hit. So that's also why we're not bringing a full team. That's why we're not doing anything like Laurel cycling. I just want to see an authentic view as to what these inspiration changes do. Again, the Drake isn't perfect. He's got low defense, stuff like that, but it should be a pretty cool display and a pretty good way to test it. So ringing Silas in here. I did want to make sure Silas had lower attack than Hex and Twyla. Twyla wasn't a concern, Hex was. So to do that, we just went triple crit damage with him on the right. Everything else is very comparable. You can see around 250 additional attack speed. He's in a maxed out exclusive, just like Hex was. Twyla obviously is in the Wailing Skull. I think it should be a pretty good test. Let's hop on in and let's see it. Quite curious. If you have predictions, you can let me know in the comments. So the quantity of inspiration coming from Diaochan is obviously less than Dolores, but it is constant. It's 100% uptime while she's in the Sorrow stance, and she's also giving penetration, but Dolores' inspiration is higher. So let's see how we do. So again, don't view this as Guild Boss. Just be like, this is the DPS over a 4.5 minute period of battling, right? That's kind of the way you can think about it. So let's get Hex right here. Then we'll get Dolores. So Hex is getting the Wings of Grace, plus 12%. Then we'll get Twyla here. And then we are going to get Hollow. So Twyla is getting from Hollow the 10% Invigoration. And then we'll do Silas there. He's getting nada. Sorry, big boy. And then we just need to quickly place these Nightmare units to take advantage of Tortor's Lord skill. So we place it. You'll see it go to plus 10%. We'll place it, pick it up. You look above Twyla's head. It's going to go to plus 20%. Finally, with Sorzus, place him, pick it up, plus 35% attack speed. All right, let's go. I'll probably put this on 2 or 3x speed so you can watch along, but it still goes faster, and we'll check in at the end. I'll mostly just be using the ults as they come up, but when I can line up the ults with Dolores, of course, I will do that. See you in a second. All right, we're coming to the end here. Pretty freaking remarkable. I mean, this 5-person team, granted the gear is fantastic. These guys are all, the 3 DPSers, they're all at A1, but we're like approaching 50K. We're not going to get there, but just with these 5 units and no cycling or anything, pretty remarkable. So like with cycling, we would have gotten there. I will say, before even looking in Dolores' defense, it was very hard to be lining up her inspiration with all these other heroes. So there's an argument you could do the other tests, sitting on all the DPS ults, lining it up with Dolores every time, but it would have ended up being a lot less ults. So that is a consideration for a lot of content, right? Where Diaochan removes that consideration with the constant uptime on the inspiration. So you can see coming in, Silas didn't get any of the special buffs, and he also went triple crit damage, but doing pretty solid at 92.3 mil. You're going to want to remember these numbers because we're going to use it as our reference point. Then we've got Hex leading the pack just under 150, 149.4. And then we've got Twyla at 124.1. So we can just think like about 150, 124, 92, 149, 124, 92. So those are kind of our baselines. It's going to be a lot easier for me right now to do this with Diaochan because she's going to be, giving the inspiration constantly. I think it's an imperfect test, but in an imperfect game for testing, they don't make it very easy for us. So I think this is a pretty strong test, pretty nice baseline. Let's continue on now. Before I get into it, I want to quickly go over how inspiration works for Diaochan. Obviously, you know how it works for Dolores, or at least I think you do. So that's why I didn't go deep. Basically, it's 60% inspiration with her awakenings and stuff and her skill ups. And it's whenever she's ulting for 22 seconds. Diaochan is a bit different, so let's make our little switcheroo. Let's head to Diaochan here, and this is our A0 Diaochan. We're going to take everything from Dolores and just throw it on her. So there you go. She comes out to, actually, let me not comment on that yet till we put on the artifact. So we could do her exclusive, which would be pretty spicy, but for consistency, we'll do the same as Dolores. So she's only really getting the flat stat HP, flat stat attack, and the 5% attack increase because we don't need the Rage Regen at all, but we want to keep things steady. Let's look at our total stats now in this gear. 13,355, so a little bit less than Dolores. That's because her attack is like just a little bit less. I can show you that now, actually. I forgot to put a heart on her. Give me 1 second, so then they can always just stay next to each other. Much better. So you can see Dolores is coming in at 2662. Diaochan's at 2583, but obviously this Dolores is A4+, so she gets an additional 200 attack. If you got Diaochan A2, this would go up to 2883. But most people run her at A0, or very likely A1, because her A1 is so spicy. There you go. Those are her stats. Fairly comparable. How does her Song of Sorrow work? She has 2 stances. There's Serenade of Hope and Song of Sorrow. Hope mode, Hope stance, that is like healer and damage reduction, damage mitigation. Sorrow mode is getting her attack nice and high. It actually does get higher the longer she's in that mode, so she'll get an extra 20%. It's 2% every 2 seconds over 20 seconds. We'll keep her in that mode, so it will never get removed. So that actually will push her attack higher than Dolores. Her inspiration effect is smaller. So you can see the ultimate just switches between the stances, but if we look over here, when she's in Song of Sorrow, her inspiration is giving 25%, as opposed to Dolores is 60. She does have more attack from the talent, so it's more like she's doing like about half the inspiration. You could think of it that way, but it's constant, and it's also coming with an additional support effect, and that's going to be this. From Thorned Rose, when she's in Song of Sorrow, continuous uptime, 100% uptime, penetration increase to the 2 other allies with the highest attack. In this example, that will be Hex, and that will be Twyla. They're going to ignore 20% of the defense and 20% of the magic resistance, depending on the type of damage dealer you've got. So Twyla will shred 20% of the defense. Hex will shred 20% of the magic res. There's an argument Twyla's a poor choice because she's already going to be ignoring a lot of defense, and also the Drake is a poor choice because he just has low defense and low magic res. But these are the guys on rate up, so I just think it's cool. We're just trying to get a sense how she compares. So remember, I believe I got the numbers right. It was 149 million for Hex. It was 124 million for Twyla, and I believe it was 92 million for Silas. So 149, 124, and I think 92 or 93. I think 92. So there you have it. Same kind of situation. We'll set it up, and then we'll speed to the end. It's going to be easier on me because I don't have to worry about timing Diaochan. You'll see once she's in Sorrow mode, she stays in Sorrow mode. Inspiration is constant. Penetration is constant. Let's head into battle. The buffering entering these battles has been taking a long time on test server. I've been in here a minute today, and you've been seeing it now on the video. Taking a long time. Let's do the same exact thing as we did before. So Hex goes here. Now Diaochan's in the Wings of Grace, so she's going to put that on Hex. There's your plus 12%. Here comes Twyla. Hollow is going to get placed and give her Invigoration. There you go. Here comes Silas. Already, let's switch into Song mode, Song stance, Song of Sorrow. So you can see now she's placing all that cool stuff. Actually, this is about to roll off. Let's actually wait. We'll take the moment to place our Nightmare units to get Twyla going from the Tortor buff, and then we'll be able to check on Diaochan, and it will be very clear. So you can see she's wearing her black cloak. That's her sad sorrow cloak, as opposed to her white cloak, which is when she's in hope mode. That's the indicator if you want to be able to track it. You'll see Silas, there's no change, but the other two, well, they're all getting inspiration. It's constant. The other two are getting their penetrations, right? So they're getting ignore 20% of defense and magic res, ignore 20% of defense and magic res. It's right behind my head, excuse me. All right, off to the races. Let's go, see you at the end. All right, we're coming up to the end here, and you can see the blood number is really similar, which I think is very much in Dolores' favor if you're talking specifically about Guild Boss 1, because you can do all that interesting cycling. But if you're talking about in general, it's confirming what I think and have tested and believe, that Diaochan is probably the best option for most content as an inspiration hero. So let's take a peek here. You can see Silas went down about 3 million, Hex went down about 1.5 million, Twyla went up about 4 million. Basically everyone's spot on. It's kind of a wash. They're all like a rounding error, easily, within general RNG changes away from one another. Obviously, the Dolores thing was kind of imperfect, but this was kind of imperfect. You might have seen I didn't have to, besides that first ult to switch stances, I did not have to ult with Diaochan once, and that's kind of the beauty of it. But for a lot of general content, I just think it's really powerful that she's constantly doing it. You don't have to worry about really tricky timings and things not lining up. It's always lining up. And this isn't even to mention the benefit she gets from when she's in Serenade of Hope is she's a legitimately good healer and a very good damage reducer support kind of hero. So that dual functionality makes her pretty special. And it's also not to mention with her A1, the range becomes huge, and all of a sudden she's fitting tons of people into her inspiration range if you do need that for certain maps. Or like, for example, in Guild Boss 1, you'd be able to fit 4 fighters into the inspiration range instead of 3. 3 is the maximum with Dolores. So you can see in this test, it's kind of a wash. I think it's a pretty impressive result for Diaochan. They both are going to, it's like just because you have Diaochan, it's not like you never need Dolores per se for a lot of content, but she is a very strong substitute. In certain content, she might be a little worse. In certain content, I think clearly she'll be better. And in any content where you need more than just her staying in Song of Sorrow mode all the time, she's pretty insane. I think she's an incredibly well-designed hero. She's very, very strong, but she's not like completely broken, insane, busted. She's a definitive must pull. Everyone has to go with her, go for her if you got the shot. And I think she's going to age with the game and the meta extremely nicely, but she's not like Wukong. Like Wukong was just, what were we doing? If I'm being honest, not that they need to do that, the word that begins with an N to Wukong. But you know what I'm saying? Like she's extremely strong. She's OP, but she's still balanced, if that makes sense. She's like as good as I'd want a super strong hero to be. And she's a definitive, should you summon, absolutely summon and go for her. And I think she's going to be a lot of fun on a lot of accounts, especially any accounts that are, I'd say she's going to be the best on accounts that are newer or very advanced. So like newer accounts, she's just going to be hard carrying you through everything because she can kind of like do everything. I cannot wait to get her on my 3 to play. However, older accounts, this is the kind of hero you need because she is going to age with the new content. She's going to be like, we have a solution for everything already. We've already beaten all the stuff in the game months ago, right? So it's like, what new content is coming? I do think she's going to be key for all of that. Incredible hero. Definitely go for her. Should you summon? Yes. I hope you like this showcase. I've been Fastidious. Share with your mother, and I'll see you real soon. Bye.
Fastidious.